Welcome in 29ers. Jay Smithini here from the mothership here in Houston, Texas, where it's still like 80 something degrees. It's gross. This does not feel like wintertime, Terry Cushman. Although I guess with you being Mr. Road Trip, perhaps you actually saw some weather that was not just like hot, hot, and more hot recently.
Yes, I was up in Massachusetts for the weekend. It was pretty chilly up there. Ironically, though, the week before down here, Myrtle was very chilly as well because we had this cold front come down. I don't know if Texas was a part of that or not last week, but
Kind of like a day. It was, and it was like Texas cold. It was like 50. Like
uh, okay.
It's just enough for like the people that have cold weather gear. Like I'll sidetrack before we go too far. This is competitive cribbage podcast. We actually do talk about cribbage a little bit here or there. Um, I used to drive home from work, and I drove through this really really ritzy section of Houston. It's where like all the like the very 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 expensive shops are, where like you can buy a purse that's like the price of a car and things like that. And when you had the cold weather days, you'd see the ritzy folk in their fur and all their gear. And even though if it like, you know how those days it like starts at 40 in the morning and
Yeah.
then by the afternoon, it's like it's in their 80s still, but they like still have their gear. So I'm driving home at like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock and seeing these people just like sweating God knows everywhere and all this like cold weather fur gear. It always made me like giggle. It's just like, okay, this stuff, it's like the 3 days somebody gets to wear this like Prada sweater. I don't even know if Prada makes sweaters, but anyway. But yeah, you made a little road trip recently, went up to Massachusetts, I guess. Your old stomping grounds, haunting grounds.
Yeah. I mean, as we know, that's where I kind of came up, and I'd never played at this particular place in Webster, but yeah, it was kind of nice to go up there, see some of the old crowd, and they kicked my butt much like they did for much of my earlier years, like bad. It was a brutal weekend, but we'll get into that shortly. So the ride up, so we canceled our flights because of all the chaos with the air traffic control shortage and all that. And we went up in an electric car. And I'm just going to say this: don't recommend it for a lengthy road trip
Oh
because you
yeah,
will.
yeah. You got to stop and charge and do all the
Yes.
things, and that sounds terrible. Why did you have a choice on an electric vehicle? Did you rent it, or was it somebody's? Was it like I know you rode with, was it Megan and Jamie, and was it one of their cars?
Yeah, it was Jamie Fincher's. Megan has a Toyota Tundra, which is a stick shift, not ideal on fuel, and then heavy traffic in DC, New York type thing. So my car probably would have been fine. I mean, it's got 150,000 miles on it or so, but I don't know. Why risk it? And Jamie just got this brand new Rivian that was delivered to her, I think last week or the week before. And it's a cool vehicle, super high tech, very comfortable. It just sucked to have to charge it, and that's 45 to 60 minutes you're losing on a what would be a 12-hour day without the charging. Um so yeah, it was what it was, but it was safe. I actually drove it on the way back, and I kind of drove it on and off to and from whatever, because I'm not the drinker in that group. So so yeah, I was the one who was safe to drive. And yeah, so I mean, but other than that, I mean, if you're just commuting and stuff, it's an awesome vehicle. But
They seem cool. Like of the electric, we don't like take a lot of endorsements on this like program, like unpaid. But yeah, if I were to get an electric vehicle, I feel like a Rivian would be the one angle I would go on that one. Okay,
there was
so
there was one point though where we kept missing the exit or whatever, and like it got all the way down to 6%. So that was dicey. And yeah. And I'll say this on the way up too, because there's not going to be much food talk on here. We went to a place in New York City, right next to MetLife Stadium, where the Giants play. there's a mall and there's tons of places in the mall. And have you ever been to a Yard House?
Yeah, yeah, it's like a brew house kind of place. Yeah, they seem all right. Yeah, they're okay.
I got the steak tacos with salsa and some of the other fixings on it, and they didn't have a real hard shell, so I got the baked cheese stuff into the shell, which made it somewhat crispy. Best tacos I've ever had in my
Oh,
life,
okay, good, awesome. All right,
and
we got
it's
a
not
new
a
thing on the list. There's like chicken nuggies, and there's this, and there's that. Now there's like these very specific like steak tacos. Okay, I'm proud of you, Terry.
yeah. So we got up there and we got an Airbnb. It was pretty nice and comfortable and so that was cool. I thought I was sleeping on the couch because the listing was somewhat deceptive. There is a third bed in the sunroom type area, so I had a bed because
Okay, that's a plus.
I was couch bitch originally. But yeah, so I ended up sleeping on a bed. But yeah, anyway, so we get to the tournament. It was in a VFW, and Webster's a tiny little town. It has a little bit of a town square there, not a big town at all. And right on the Connecticut border, too. The way in dips us into Connecticut and then jets us back up like 5 miles to Webster. So, VFW, the directors of that tournament, the director was actually Steve Dugas, and it was his first tournament as a director. Rick Montague, Bonnie Fife, and Mark Soul did a lot of the heavy lifting with him as co-directors. All of them did a fantastic job. Friday was a 12-game main, which I promptly won 5 of my first 6 games, and then only 1 game after that.
Oof.
So
Those are like the worst too. It's like if you do it the other way around, you feel, it's like, oh, okay, it started so bad, but hey, I feel like I had some momentum, this and that. If it goes the other way, you just feel crud. It's just like rug pulled out from under you. It's yeah, that's no fun. Okay. Yep. So DNQ in event 1. Okay.
and then in event 2, the
Mhm.
consolation in the afternoon, 9-gamer, I win 4 of my first 5 games with a skunk. Only win 1 game after that. Same path.
Mhm.
Same path. I just the bullpen got blown up apparently. I just couldn't hold it and notch a couple more wins. I'm also going to say this, and I mean this, and it's absolutely true. Of all the New Englanders I've played over the years, Dave Stats is my toughest opponent. I don't know what it is. I really struggle with that guy. Nothing works. He always seems to capitalize on me. I don't know if it's a style versus style thing, and his is just my kryptonite. It's a massive sample size, so I can't say that luck is a big part of it. Like he just legitimately kicks my ass. My numbers against Rob are better. I'm sure I'm below 50% against Rob. Same could be said for Jerry Hardy. My numbers are better against Jerry than what they are against Dave. Jerry probably is above 50% against me also. But Dave Stats is legitimately my toughest opponent in any area of the ACC. So, and in game 9 of the consolation, he was my opponent. If I won it, I was in. If I lost it, I was out. And he beat me pretty handily. I don't think there was much I could have done, but I kind of felt like he was my Grim Reaper as we were taking our seats, and
You
he
just
got me.
feel it's coming.
I did manage to skunk him on Saturday with ridiculous cards, and so I started. That was game 1 of 22.
Oh wow! So it's you played him back-to-back games,
I
not
did.
counting any of the side stuff that may have happened.
In official games, I did. There was back-to-back games, and they say that a skunk is a curse in game 1. I don't believe that. That's a myth. Typically, I do fairly well. When I get a skunk in the first game, but in this case, I only won 5 more games out of the next 21, and statistically, as far as I can remember, that was my worst 22 game qualifier. So I had a 12-6, 13-6. those two numbers tie my card from Baltimore in 2022, but the spread for this one was way worse. So just got absolutely destroyed. I got destroyed in Canadian doubles as well. I teamed with Jamie Fincher for that. So it wasn't a great weekend. I had a lot of fun on the ride up, on the ride back, just hanging out with everybody, seeing everybody again. All the tournament directors did a good job. I'll also say this about the tournament. In both mains, the payouts were over 1,000 for first place.
Ooh, okay.
So
Nice little hit. Oh.
excellent payouts. It didn't cost a lot of money for the hall, which
Mhm.
helped with that. Down south and in other areas of the country, hotel conference rooms can be costly. So perhaps that was a bit of a difference there. But Dugas did a good job, and he also told me that I mentioned him as a future tournament director on one of our earlier episodes, and that was kind of the, what do you call it, the genesis for
The
him,
impetus,
the
yeah.
impetus. Okay, for him putting it into action. So great job, and glad I got to hang out with everyone again on my old turf. Never thought it would take me 4 years to get back there to play a tournament, but circumstances in a couple of those years kind of made it difficult. And Bill Cormier was the best looking player there all weekend. So congrats to Bill for that. I think he did win Canadian doubles with Frank Reddy as well. So that's like the most likable team possible, I feel like. Bill Cormier and Frank Reddy. Maybe
Yeah,
it's
I was
just a
about to say,
sentimental thing. Yeah, from New England, but
yeah.
I like those two a lot.
I had a okay, I'll so I had a period of time where I did not like Bostoners, if you will, massholes, whatever you want to call them. And it's because I worked in DC at a station. I think I said this before. I worked at an all baseball station, and there was a ton of people who came in from Boston to do that. And I felt like it was there were so many people, and no matter what, nothing could be as good as it was in Boston. Like, I could have handed the guy $100 bill, and he's like, when somebody does this to me in Boston, the bill is more crisp, or it's a $200 bill, or, whatever it is. They'd complain about, like, it just made me like not like Bostoners, if you will, like, oh, the Patriots and the this and the that, and the Red Sox fans kind of, not that you know any of those, but tend to be a little bit obnoxious at the time. But mostly good experiences with those folks in the cribbage community, and you're right, those two, like, just good peoples. And it's one of those, it's like you took that right up with like Megan and Jamie, and you think about like who you want to fill your car with on like a long car ride of cribbage players. It's like I start thinking of names like that, and I'm sure you all had a lot of laughs on the ride up. And to me, that's what, like, winning and losing, like, comes and goes, and that's kind of what happens. Like, you just have bad weekends. This is what you do, right? Hopefully, and you and I at least have enough seat time, and maybe not. Tell me if I'm off base here, but like, it's a bummer when you miss, right? Especially for a whole weekend. Like, my goal when I go in, I want to try to play as good as I can every game, every decision. But ultimately, like, I just don't want to blank out for the whole weekend. I just want to get one, just one, right? Even if it's a main of a con, just let me qualify in one. Doesn't matter if I make the play, how far I go in the playoffs, what happens. It's a real bummer when you don't. And I've tried to like work on this part of myself. It's like just to be the same person, winning or losing. So I don't know. It's just it's a tough thing when that is going on, especially when you feel like you're in a slump in this game. And it's like this is a streaky game. It's just the nature of, like, cribbage is what, like a 60-40 game at the most or something like that, right? Like, best players against worst players. You're gonna have periods where, like, you miss multiple times, right? I always wonder about it. It's one of those things, if we ever have on like Dwayne Toll, or Jim Mahan played so many events last year, Brian Gurdon like this year, right? It's like, okay, what do you do to deal with the swings of this thing? Because it's, when it's running really good, that's easy, right? Sit down, get hit with the deck, move on. But when you're in a slump, like what do you do? And so I guess this question for you, like you know, one of the tip top players, like you don't go through a lot of slumps, but when you do, is there anything that you part of your plan? Do you try to get away? Do you try to this? Do you try to that? Like what are your like tricks with that one?
So the one thing I try to do, and I used to do this when I played Texas Hold'em as well. When things aren't going well and you're in a bona fide slump, I think players will overthink things, and I just try to keep it simple. I just try to keep it simple. Don't overthink it. Don't get too creative, and just try to simply ride it out. When you get to the point where you're second guessing everything, I think that's a really bad place to be, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I try to do. I mean, luck is a big part of the game. And a lot of times you're not going to overcome that. And I think cribbage players, and to this day, I'm still guilty of it, but I still think I can control a game, which I ultimately can't. Like, we have very little control over the game. You're just mostly going on probabilities and stuff like that. Um, most of the time. And so I don't know. I just try not to stress out about it. I did have some decent momentum coming into it, so this wasn't a prolonged thing. I just kind of felt like I got, in this case, this weekend, felt like I just kind of got hit by a Mack truck, and you know, just wasn't my weekend.
Yeah. And it's like of the games you lost, right? You said you lost what, like six in like the Friday one, and however many in the con, however many in the main. It's like, okay, how many of those, if if you played perfectly, would you have stolen? Like another couple? It's not like you were gonna like change the way you played it and win 8 more games during that main, right? Instead of having a 13, you'd have a 29, right? Like you were gonna steal 8 more games. It's like a club, right? I play, mostly grassroots, and somebody will come up to me and they show the scorecard and they like lose a game by like 46. It's like, oh yeah, yeah. If you'd only played that game 47 points better, come on, like it's that's not how that goes. At least for me, I try to, if I'm slumping, right? It's different in an event. It's kind of a different question, right? What you do in an event when you feel it slipping, but like after, right? Or like after I come back on a weekend where I've like missed everything, and maybe, grassroots miss like 2, 3 weeks straight. What do you do? And for me, it's like I try to sit down, examine as much as I can about my game, right? Go into the lab, make sure that I feel good about my game, that I feel like my game is tight. I feel like my game is where I want it to be. And, try to write out the swings. And then at least for me, like, you're somebody who's also won like a major, right? I try to be like, okay, relax. Like there are people that will play their whole careers and like will not be as lucky as I've been in the events that I've been. What is it? What's your record in finals? Like
19
19
and
and 3,
4.
19 and 4. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty lucky, right? Like the swings that, those things could have gone into place and you could have 4 and 19 just to, so I don't know. For me, it's like I do that. And then like book study is the other thing I'll mention when it comes to that, right? Like I try to lean into book study if I feel like I am tilted and slumping. Reread books, cribbage books that I've read before, right? Like not try to validate that I'm right, just try to lean into it and make sure that there are no elements of this that I am like missing, right? It's like I can't control what did happen in these other events, but maybe I can have some say over what like could happen going forward. Even if I glean like one little teeny tiny piece of information from one of these things, and at least I got something out of it, right? Like just, not try to lay off the misery. And the other thing is, I don't know, get my mind off it, right? Go do other things, especially if I'm at an event. Like I remember I had one that was very, very painful. I was going through a tough time in my life. It was one of that cursed time in like North Conway that I always talk about. And I remember I was gonna, it was in like a midweek or something like that. And I needed like a game, and I remember I was playing Dan Selke in the very last game. And Dan will probably get on me for like telling this story, but like I was first count from 6 out, and I pick up ace 2 3, like 6 7 queen, right?
Ace 2 3 6 7 queen.
Yeah, it may have even been 6-7 Jack. In fact, I think it was, but maybe, like again, my memory is like fuzzy about it, right? And of course, like you can tell the end of this story because you don't tell that story if something unremarkable happens, right?
Mhm.
Like through the 6-7, we cut a 6. I couldn't get a peg. And then he ends up winning the game, and I'm like first or second, like out. And I remember I went and like walked that night, just tried to walk it off. And I walked like 6 miles or something, just try to like try to just get all the piss and vinegar out of my system. Just all right, I'm gonna go be miserable alone for a little while and just come back refreshed, something like that. So I don't know. Some of the things I try. Well, I'm sorry the weekend was a bummer for you. Um, we had our 18 game grassroots regional, and I had like a similar story. Just I needed that went on a nice little run. Just needed to win 2 of my last 4, and then end up one short, lose the last game.
Uh,
Um, and just and looking back at it, just nothing I feel like I could have done. Like all the games I lost were like, multi. There weren't ones where like okay, it's like, and this is maybe this is a question for you because I've had like people in the club here in Houston where this comes up where they get more mad when they get like blown out, right? Those games where they lose by like 46 than the games when they lose by like 3. And for me, it's the other way, right? The
yeah,
ones that sting are the ones where I feel like I had some say in it,
right.
right? Those
Yeah,
deck games, the bingo games, the whatever you want to call them, where it's just we're both just passengers. Man, there's nothing I can do about that one. But the ones that sting, it's like, oh man, oh, I made this mistake and it ended up costing me, and I should have known better, right? Got too aggressive, like paired in a spot where maybe I shouldn't pair it, or maybe should have just taken a couple extra seconds in a pegging element. So at least those are the ones that like bang me up, but try to at least catch a little perspective about it.
real quick, I should definitely point out the winners there.
Yes.
Friday main was Deb Cotter, who also qualified first overall with a 21 card. So just dominated from start to finish, qualifying and playoffs. Congrats to her. Dave Stats beat Jerry Hardy in the finals of the consolation. So a true heavyweight super fight between two cribbage giants. And Stats came out the winner of that. Then in the Saturday main, a gentleman I've never met before. His name's Paul Kane. He ended up beating Phil Martin in the finals of that, and Robert Robrek or Patrick Robrek, excuse me. Freudian slip there.
Yeah, catch some hell about that one, right?
Patrick,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
at least I caught it myself. Patrick won the consolation on Sunday, and I kept Dugas kept taking pictures with the winners and stuff, and especially when he was standing next to Jerry. Jerry's like 6'4", Dugas might be 5'4". Oh no, Beckett's barking. Um, I told Dugas, I'm like, stand on the chair, Doogie, stand on the chair, even it out. And he
The,
didn't do it until the very end.
call that the Joe Buck where I'm from, like where he does the stand-up shot in football games with like Troy Aikman back in the day.
I didn't
And like,
see the
Troy Aikman's like this big tall quarterback, and they'd be at the same height for like the shot. It's like, oh, okay. He's standing on some phone books. So all right, well, cool. Well, I'm glad the tournament went great. Like I'm sorry the cards sucked. Sounds like the ride's there. I gotta get the off air show for some of the stories of the car rides with there. Hopefully you can, you know, not
they
bound
were
to
actually
secrecy.
pretty tame, I think, but you know.
Oh, that's a bummer. Oh well, that's all right. That's the story you're telling me for the on the air. We'll just do
Okay.
the juicy bits later. So
I'll just make stuff up later on the off air, especially about
beautiful,
Megan.
beautiful. All right, all right. So okay, so we'll jump to the fantasy draft here. So we've got a little offbeat one that I threw out. So what I'm saying is unconventional pets here. So just if you could have a pet, if it could be anything, right? Like let your mind run wild about the enclosures you could have, the whatever you could have. Like what would you select to have as a pet? So like no dogs, no cats, no like, easy things in this. We're going for something like like a little different. I'll at least give a caveat to this, right? Like every once in a while I'll get like TikToks or whatever it is about I don't know certain like animal sanctuaries things, and they always hashtag it like not pets and stuff like that. And I agree with that, right? So many of these things are like these big exotic like creatures, whatever it is, they are not pets, so we're not like saying that should be a thing that people would do. But if you had like unlimited money in a fictional universe in which these things could like be your friends, because I don't know how you feel about pets. I feel like they're my buds, right? It always creeps me out the people that are like, oh, your pet is your son, your what it's like, no, this is not a child, right? Like, and I'm happy for the people that are like, oh, I'm a dog mom or I'm a cat dad or whatever it is, but like that's not how I see it. They're pals to me.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So I have my list of my what I would say is like unconventional animals, because we got holiday season coming up, Terry, and the food drafts are going to be coming fast and furious soon. I'm sure we will do a Thanksgiving one next week. Hopefully, we get a lot of folks who are traveling who pop this show on. So we get some fun from people. Load up the mailbag, by the way, y'all. cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. So okay. Oh, by the way, big news.
You got a coin?
I've
Oh,
found not just a coin, Terry. Not there. There's no a coin on this show. The coin,
the coin.
the nickel of this. In one day when there is a Cribbage Hall of Fame building, right? I won't ever get a sniff of it, but maybe this coin will, right? So anyway, so the nickel of glory is back, and since you've been cheating because you've won like the toss like 50 straight times, like I'm gonna flip it here and just keep you honest. So,
All right.
do you want to call it
I'm not going to switch it up this week. I'll take heads.
heads? Okay, all right, we're gonna flip and land on the wrist, and it is a tail.
All right.
There's the tail for it. I feel like the variance on this is going to be so wide. I cannot imagine that you're going to snipe me on any of these. So I'm actually going to defer and allow you to have the first selection here, Mr. Cushman.
All right. I this doesn't meet the criteria for exotic, but it's an animal I love and would love to own one someday. But that's a horse. I like horses.
Okay.
They're
Any?
social. Yeah. So I dated someone. This was like almost 20 years ago,
Mhm.
and her mom had a house with a horse farm, but her mom didn't live there. She lived with her longtime boyfriend, but she would keep the house for the farm and whatever. And we moved into that house for a handful of months before getting our own place. And so every day it was just habit to go out and hang out with the horses. And I think there were 4 adult ones. One of them was like you couldn't trust her because she would try to kick you. Um, but there was another one that was a baby of, well, it wasn't a baby by that point, but it was a young adult of one of the other ones. And her mom's name was Fire Damage because her belly was black and kind of, looked
Oh,
charred,
okay.
I guess.
Yeah.
So the baby was called Little Damage, and she was kind of the runt that would get bullied. So naturally, that's the one I liked. And every day she would, as soon as I'd pull in from work in my Jeep Wrangler at the time, she'd come up to the fence and I'd pet her and I'd feed them. I'd spend a solid hour with them out there, and and they're surprisingly, for as big and as strong as they are, they're very gentle. Like she would rub her forehead on my chest, and I wouldn't even budge. Like just very gentle. So I would pick a horse as the
Okay.
number one pick.
Okay. I don't hate that. Like it's not as out of the box as some of the other things you could go with, but it's a good start. We're not gonna like hate on that. Again, like no judgment here on this program, at least about like most things. Every once in a while I'll break out the judgment stick and just or the look.
Just
I
beat
don't
me
know.
with it.
Well, my face tells on me, Terry. Like
Uh,
anybody who knows me well, like it's just there are certain things and I'll just have like a look about me and I can't control it. Like I want to be respectful and kind to people and rate people's lives. Some of their choices are not my choices, but yeah, sometimes somebody will say something and my eyes will just, like in my in a past relationship before, I found out that like I can't stop myself from rolling my eyes when somebody says something that's very off. And yeah, people don't care for that. So no. All right, horse is okay. All right. As my first pick, all right, I got a few things on here. You know, the first one I have to have, I have to take a jaguar. I have to take a jaguar.
Okay,
Multiple
well,
roots. I told you mine's like out of the box. Like I'm not picking like, easy stuff here. Like it's not a hamster or whatever it is. And again, none of these things should like actually be pets, right? Like, but I get these videos. It's from shout for anybody who finds this. It's Safari Sammy is her name, and she I guess works at one of these like big cat sanctuaries. She'll just walk up and like boop the animals like very sweetly. Like they all like her, and like they all seem such gentle, sweet animals. And like don't get me wrong, like all of these things can destroy you in a heartbeat, whether it be a jaguar or a tiger or a leopard or whatever it is. But also sometimes they just like big like house cats, like pouncing on stuff and rolling around and this and that. But like the Jaguars, and like I have a bond with like Jaguars from like my, like the football team in Jacksonville, but also my father was a Jaguar auto dealer. So like it's always been like an important like thing for.
the symbolic animal for your life.
Yeah, like we don't say spirit animal anymore because it's insensitive, but like it's an important like creature to me. So yeah, that's the one I had to have. And then for my second pick, I'm gonna go a little strategic here because I feel like it's like some of the stuff I have is so far out of whack that there's no way that you're ever going to take this. I'm going to take elephant as my other one. Elephants are some of those creatures that are just unbelievable in that their level of intelligence and their emotions. Have you ever heard about like elephant funerals and things like that? Like they will grieve the loss of their loved ones and like essentially have like a funeral, or they all get together and like or like crying together and things like that. It's just a beautiful thing, not like death is a beautiful thing, but like it's the fact that the creature can do these things. And I don't know, there are all kinds of just crazy stories about the stuff that elephants can do. There's apparently one where an elephant killed somebody who was like abusing it, and like it and its family like went and like also charged the funeral of that person who did that, like broke up the funeral. It's the coolest thing. So elephants I just feel like are cool as hell. Like if I could have an elephant as like a pal, as a pet, as a something to live in like a sanctuary and like build a friendship with in that way, yeah, hell yeah, give me an elephant.
Okay, I've ridden on an elephant before, but
Really?
yeah, was that
Okay.
like a fair type thing or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's actually a good pick, and the similar I've heard similar to horses, like I mentioned, they're very gentle as well.
Okay.
So,
All right.
all right, so those are your 2?
Those are my first two. Yep. So
All right.
yeah, be the only house with a jaguar and an elephant in the history of existence. So far, you've got a horse. So
I mean, I don't trust my cat sometimes because it bites me.
right,
So, I don't
we're
know, like a
we're
big
building
cat.
like hold on, we're building like a utopia here where like these things you don't have to like worry about that. You don't have to worry about like the upkeep. You have unlimited
Okay,
money, unlimited like all. So go as wild as you want with this, right?
okay,
Like just because you say it on this show doesn't mean somebody's gonna like knock on your door with one of these like on your doorstep tonight. Or this is a really weird like Twilight Zone or like Black Mirror episode. So
okay. All right, my next one, is gonna be a turtle. I just think it'd be cool to have a small turtle, a tank. You can let the turtle out and I think be somewhat social with the turtle. And
okay,
I don't know. I just low maintenance. I just thought it'd be cool to have one.
they can live like a zillion years. Can I tell a depressing but funny story about like a turtle?
Sure.
Okay, so we had a turtle growing up. One of the little. It's about again for those who don't watch the video thing of this. The turtle was like I don't know, like 5 6 inches. It's a little box turtle they call it, so it's not very big. The turtle's name, my little sister named it, was named Captain Planet, and it lived in
Okay.
this like little. It's a very like 70s and 80s esque thing my folks had. It was like a terrarium. It wasn't like a tank, but it was like I don't know how to describe it, but it was like a little space like that was in your house, right? And my mom built like a little thing for this turtle with like rocks and a big pond and all this other stuff in the this little terrarium like space, right? It's almost like a well anyway, eventually, right, my folks many years later, like this is like 15, 20 years after, decide they're finally ready to get rid of this terrarium, but they still have this like turtle, right? And my folks' house in Northeast Florida backs up to national park. It's like a swamp, basically, Fort Caroline National Park. Um, and it's like there are lots of like turtles in the area, right? And they decided to build like a koi pond in this like area, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, you know what? We're gonna let this turtle free in this koi pond in like their backyard, and let the like let nature be nature, right? In all the good ways. Maybe the turtle will go off and make a little turtle family, or maybe the turtle will stay there and still be very happy and this and that, right? And after a couple of days, turtle's not really gone anymore or there anymore, right? And then they also noticed the koi they had in the little koi pond also wasn't there. There's like, I thought there were more in there. And so my dad puts a camera on there,
Oh no.
and there are these gigantic owls that are swooping down and grabbing the fish. So it's like they less installed a koi pond and more installed an owl feeder unintentionally. And this poor turtle that's lived this like sheltered life, with no predators, no this 15 years, probably gets set free and probably gets swooped up and snagged by like an owl within a day. So anyway, it's just it's not a very happy story, like the ending of it, but it's to me it's kind of funny in itself of like what's up. For all I know, the turtle actually did crawl away and it's living his little happy turtle life. But yeah, Captain Planet did not. I don't think Captain Planet made it. So okay, so I interrupted. So that's all from you just picking a turtle. You have one more pick here before I have my last two.
Well, if you're gonna take a jaguar, I'm gonna take a black bear.
Hell yeah! All right,
I,
yeah, let's hear
I,
it.
I've
Tell
seen
me.
some of them be, somewhat social with humans in certain situations, and I think you could kind of win each other's trust in real life. And
Mhm.
so, I don't know. I just think it'd be cool. I did see an episode of Northwood's Law. I know I've mentioned it once
You
on the
have,
show.
yes, yes.
And it's like cops but with game wardens instead. And there was a couple where people were feeding these bears, and I don't know if they got too friendly with them, but they could get within 6 or 8 feet of the bear, and the bear didn't seem to have any violent tendencies. So yeah, I don't know, I'll take a black bear.
Okay. That's supposedly like what they say. It's like I know there's like one of these like rhyming phrases about it, but the joke is like a black bear, you can kind of like scare away, like make yourself big, whatever it is, right? You have like a grizzly bear, like get the heck away. And they
Yeah.
say if you ever see a polar bear, you are already dead. Like
Yeah.
there is no getting away from a polar bear.
Right.
So
And those, for some reason, just without knowing that, seem like the most harmless without actually researching them.
right, yeah. I
But
mean, it's kind of the way nature is, right? You watch these like National Geographic specials, and just because the way like certain creatures look, you're like, oh, it looks so like cute and sweet and cuddly, right? It's this white fuzzy bear. Let me give it a big hug. And no, it's not going to go well. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. So okay, all right. I like the black bear pick. That's at least a little out of the box. Okay, all right. All right. The last two I feel like are dead set. These are like have to haves for me. The first one I'm going to take is a crow.
okay.
Um, so crows are super intelligent, and there are stories of people like making friends with crows, and you put out like food for them, and they will bring back like coins and like money for you. Like, and they are smart, and you can like get them to do stuff. You can essentially have like crow henchmen, if you will.
Huh.
Um, So I like the idea, and I like intelligent animals, right? Like it's some people want like the dumb, sweet, lovable pets. I want like the devious, smart ones, if you will, right? That's why I think I lean like cat over dog a little bit, because it's like cats are they tend to be a little smarter than dogs, I would say. That's like a long argument people can have, but like, a cat will just give you the eye and say screw you. Whereas like I feel like if you feed a dog, as long as you're like a somewhat decent, the dog's gonna love you, right? Like cat's
Yeah.
love has got to be kind of earned, and there's nothing wrong with like liking one of those more than the other. It's just my own tendency. So I feel like having like a crow devious henchman type seems fun to me. There's cool stuff on the internet about like crows just doing like wild stuff. And then the last one is an octopus.
Oh.
And there's a documentary I saw, and I think it's called My Pet Octopus, but it's about like a diver and his like times like going around, and he kept seeing this one octopus, and kind of it would come and like see him and this and that. It was really, really just this beautiful, lovely story. And it's, you don't think of an octopus as like, I don't know, like a creature that has like a personality to it, if you will. And this particular documentary seemed to really bring that out in it. And I don't know, I just feel like it would be cool to be able to go in the water and like kind of, build a bond with another like creature in that way. So yeah, octopus is my last pick. That's why I saved that one for last. There's no way in 100 million. If octopus was even on your list, I'm shocked.
No, but you did give me a great idea, which is where I'm gonna pivot to. And this is my
Okay.
last one, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
your last one. Go ahead.
All right. I would go with a dolphin.
Okay. Dolphin was on my list. It was one of
Was
those,
it?
like, if you swiped
Oh,
one of mine, yeah, because dolphins are smart, right? And neat, and
and they're
like, yeah,
social.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're social, they're cool, like, seem like they're kind of okay. So, all right, yeah, dolphin is good. I like that.
I shared a picture just the other day of a dolphin like poking its head up near a dock on the water or a wharf, whatever you want to call it. And it's a dog kissing a dolphin. And because of AI, who knows what's real anymore? It does look real though, just for the record. And so I just thought, wow, that's awesome. Like it, and if it's true, just think of that. Like humans like don't get along a lot of the time, but a dog and a dolphin can get along. I mean, I just think that could be a life lesson for humans.
Yeah, it gives us all a little bit of hope. I haven't really hung around like dolphins, but I did get to swim with manatees once, and that was one of the like coolest things I've ever done. And they like wanted like the attention and be like scratched and stuff like that. And they're, by the way, terrifying, like so big, but yeah, dolphins, right? In the same way, like just neat sea creatures that seem to, actually able to communicate and do the things, right? We also saw like Flipper or know of it, like back in the day.
Yeah.
All kinds of stories of like dolphins, like what is it? It's like they go to a boat and try to like signal things and this and that. So yeah, those are neat things. They see dolphins and like um elephants are similar levels of like intelligence, if you will.
Okay.
So okay.
My uncle way back in the day is deceased now, but he said he had a timeshare. Him and my aunt had a timeshare in Mexico, and he would swim on the backs of sea turtles.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay. All right. Well, tell us your weird exotic pet friend things. Again, Terry's house has a horse, a turtle, a black bear, and a dolphin. And mine has a jaguar, an elephant, a crow, and an octopus. Tell us which of those you think are more your speed. All right, so let's jump to the mailbox. And I actually organize this a little bit to be able to hit some of the emails that I missed, including one from one of Terry's roommates, or I guess travel mates here. Megan Player said, "So I have a backlog of answers. I guess this is through some of the topics that we had." Said she likes city-specific trophies. She mentioned in particular a bull for Durham, an acorn for Raleigh, or a geode for Arizona. And I think that is a neat little like thing to do on a trophy. We were talking about like just non cribbage board trophies. So I'm down for that. Also, number two, do not let Terry lie to you. He has a
Uh,
woman's wallet that he carries his pegs in.
all right, I'm busting out the wallet right now,
Okay.
literally in
Let's
my pocket. So I mean, it's a dude wallet, and for the record, I did get this at the in the men's section, and it opens up like this. Hopefully, no one can get my license on the air, um, but anyway, so they I got in the men's section, but you can zip it up. which I like, and keep my pegs in there, which my pegs, like I said, are always on me at all
Mm-hmm.
times.
Same. Yep.
So it just kind of goes in there. And Megan Player is full of shit.
Okay. For the record, like, I don't, I am not a big believer in gender roles. If whatever somebody wants to carry is their business, not mine. So, I have a little pouch type thing. It's not accessible where I am now, but that I keep like my credit cards and pegs in, usually a little bit of cash as well. And yeah, I'm team Terry on this one. Like, carry whatever the hell you want. Like, it's, if anything, I'm jealous of like all the times in my life when I carried around like a really shabby wallet and wasn't able to carry all the things that like people have in purses or whatever it is, right? Pens and I don't know, whatever the heck else, tissues, all these other like things. So all right, I can't ride with you on that one, Megan. Also mentions Jason, you had the best appetizer choices, but do you like the flat or the handle for wings? So I'll ask you that one first. Do you have a feel on that? The two style of like wings. Do you like one more than the other?
Wait, explain those real quick. The
So
what?
the flat is like the one that isn't like a little drumstick. So the flat is the piece that is, I don't know how to describe it for those. You
It's
know how
the
there's,
two bones, like the two
yeah,
bone.
that's
Okay.
correct. Yeah.
Okay. I guess I would prefer the drumstick just because it's easier and I'm less likely to get it stuck in my teeth.
Okay. I think I like flats a little bit more, but it's like I like having both. Like it's by the end of it, like if I had just one, I would want only the other. I think that's a fair question. People tend to be kind of strongly on one side or the other on that one. And then the last thing she included was, um, she said, so the dads in our hood would take the kids, and there were certain houses that would fill their cups up with beer. This is, I guess, for Halloween. It's, if not, then that's a very interesting neighborhood. Not to mention the cooler that was in the wagon that was full of beer. And she sent along some costumes that I guess that she has made over the years for her kids. Very cute. It's what is it? I'm not going to share these on there, but they are cool as hell. Like, I appreciate like families that do the costume stuff up for their kids. Neat. But that one, and the last thing she signs off with was, and says, I was not big on baseball stacks, but when I go to hockey games, I have to get a soft, salty pretzel. I am with her on the big, soft, salty pretzel. So thank you for passing along that one. Let's jump to another one here. I'm going to track back a little bit. Mike Schumacher emailed, and I kind of referenced it in a previous one, and he had a lot of questions on here, and I think this is a fair one for just us to kind of talk about. And he had mentioned in particular, let me find the particular section. Basically, the question I have is, what is the ACC doing along with member clubs to grow the game? How is the cribbage community getting more people to play, even if they're not in a club? So I think that's a fair question, and is, at least I'm like on the board of directors. But do you want to venture a answer to that, or anything you think that the organization is or could be doing or shouldn't be doing? They should be funding podcasts. They should be paying lots of money. Although I like being independent from the ACC, right? We get to say whatever the hell we want,
Yeah.
and there's no real repercussions other than like maybe a side eye here or there. There's only been like once or twice that we've gotten in trouble over anything we've said. It was more me than you for whatever reason, but that's another story. Like,
That's a shocker.
yeah, well, I feel like of the two of us, you're the shit stirrer. Like, don't get
I
me wrong, I have my
am.
moments, but like you were the gossip, like the gossip king of this audience. There's me. I'm just off on my own little island here in Crazyville, it is Texas. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that? Like, do you think there are ways to kind of get that going more?
Like, go through it one more time. So, like, when, like alternative marketing type stuff to try to.
Anything. I mean, right? Like how to just grow the game. And I think however you want to define that, but I think it's more perhaps I work in marketing, right? We have a thing we call, it's like top of funnel versus bottom of the funnel, right? Top of the funnel is awareness, right? Making sure somebody knows. Like if you're advertising the competitive cribbage podcast here, right? Top of the funnel is making sure people know it exists, right? Bottom of the funnel is having convincing people to listen. So you get people to the top of the funnel and then get them through it to the bottom of it. So I would think this is more a top of the funnel thing that we are asking, right? Building awareness of the game, period.
Yeah, so it's funny because we are talking about this earlier, and I told you about a Facebook post that I was going to make, and I think the single best thing we could do right now is get the ACC on Cribbage Pro. You know, because those people are already looking for the game.
Oh, okay. I didn't think
They're
about that angle of it, but right.
Yeah, that's the best thing I think we could do, because they're looking in a lot of cases to play people and to match up, be competitive against certain people. And I feel like if you want to get younger, that's almost like a feeding ground to where you can find those people. And I think where it makes perfect sense is I've been on Cribbage Pro since probably 2012 or so, quite a while. And you can, if you buy it and you get the multiplayer, you can see how many people are online. And I remember back in the day, there used to be like 400 people on there all at once. And now it might get into the upper 200s. So I think Cribbage Pro could use an influx of, diehard cribbage players. And I think anybody who goes to grassroots, anybody who plays big weekend tournaments, I think meets the criteria of being a diehard. And if you could get some form of ACC competition on there, whether it's a bracket style tournament like what they would have on, was it Game Colony? I'm
Yeah, Game
forgetting
Colony and Cribbage, I want to say,
yeah,
is the one where it's been done.
and Cribbage, I know they have the 9-game grassroots style tournaments
Mhm.
as well. So if you could get either of those formats on Cribbage Pro, I think that could be an interesting first avenue for new players that would potentially join the ACC. And if not play the big tournaments, play the grassroots clubs, membership would go up. I think it's a win for the ACC, and I think it'd be a win for Cribbage Pro. And it's long past time to get that started.
Okay. I generally agree. I'm curious, like it's kind of chicken or the egg, right? Do you bring the cribbage players to Cribbage Pro? Do you bring like Cribbage Pro to like the cribbage players? But yeah, that's an interesting idea, and it's definitely my preferred like app to play cribbage. I know there are a few other of them out there. But yeah, I would agree. It definitely moves the fastest, and the competitive matchmaking is a boon. It's fantastic. Okay, we are running long here, so let me get this moving a little bit here. Also, I have an email from Rob Witters. Said greetings from Oregon. Hey guys, really enjoy the show. New episodes drop most Tuesdays, which is my grassroots night, which is the perfect way to get me started thinking about my game in prime for the night. Speaking of grassroots, I think I may have heard this asked some time back. But what do you guys think about having a grassroots corner portion of the show, maybe 5 minutes each episode to highlight a different grassroots club? Could be a short interview, or they could send in info for us to share. Be a great way to boost membership when people stumble onto your show. And I forget if I said this. It did kind of come up on another show. I would encourage anybody, send it in, right? Email us, give us the stuff, right? Like I don't know about having people on like 5 minutes or a director on for each episode or something like that. But yeah, like do it. Like you want the change, be it. So I'd say for anybody who with their grassroots club, if they want to send in their information, and we'll give a plug to the club and talk about what they know of with their club. I certainly know I talk about the Houston club like quite a bit. So although I doubt, I don't know if you get like the podcast stats or anything like that, or you get any like stuff about like where people are listening, but I doubt there's a lot that are listening in the Houston area. But just a few members here or there. But yeah, I feel like that's a reasonable idea. And he sent a hand that we will touch on in the other part of it. Let me see if there's any other stuff. One other one, a crackpot idea from Mike Delana. Which we welcome all crackpot ideas. That one, I promise you, any crackpot idea that I get via the inbox, it'd have to be something real, something that could get us sued for me not to read it. But he mentions, what if we lowered the percentage of qualifiers in the main event to 15 or 20%? Less qualifiers means bigger prices and more people to play consolation, which means bigger payouts for consolation as well. To give more people an incentive to stick around for the consolation. As it stands now, we lose approximately half the non-qualifiers from the main. It's always an interesting question because I like to challenge norms. And like when I'm sitting in like the board meeting, you get so many of the, you ask, hey, why is it this way? And they're like, because we've always done it this way, which to me is like a very frustrating answer. Right? It's like, why is a quarter of the field make the playoffs? And it's like, well, I guess we decided that at some point. If you were to raise or lower, right? Because I think you go the other direction with this as well. Like, how would you do the people that qualify from the main? Like if you had to set, if it was the American Terry Congress or the Terry Cribbage Congress or whatever it is, right? And you were setting that up, how would you set up qualifying?
Um, so it's interesting because I had the opposite idea. And this was a while ago, and I got absolutely torched for it. But I thought, what if you expand the qualifying field
Mm-hmm.
to 33%? But, and this is where it got really unpopular, don't pay the first round non-winners anything but the queue if they got in it.
Hmm.
And
Maybe
then
just give them a refund or something, or whatever it is, right? Like, if you paid $50, you just break even if you're losing the first round or something.
yeah, well, the queue almost does that. It gives you usually about 75% of your entry back,
Sure.
but
Sure.
it would be more inclusive to, to the playoff field, but it would give more money to the next round and beyond was
Mm-hmm.
my idea. And I thought it would be like 50-50, yes and no. It was like 90% no, like
Well,
hardcore no.
I mean, I feel like that's the nature of the organization, is just if you want to change something, especially something that's like as substantive as the way the playoffs are done, it's everybody's default answer is no. And it's not just like no, it's like I think I mentioned before, it's the toddler shaking his head it's Terry as you try to feed him an olive, close his mouth, shake his head, no. And I don't care for that. Like I think bringing up ideas and challenging norms is an important thing to do so that organizations don't become like stagnant. At least for me, I've always liked the idea more of you just have a flat cut line, like it's for a 22 gamer, make it 27. Right? You get a 27, you're in. You get a 26, you don't. There's no percent. There's whoever makes it, and that's what the bracket is. And there are downsides to that as well. But if I were to change it, I think that's how I would change it.
Honestly, I like that. So,
The downside I see to that one is I think you could see more people tanking games. Right? If it's so clear on or off. And I think it's still, let's be honest, it happens, right? I'm sure there are people that tank games.
what
It
do you mean define that?
Well, like it's that I'm certain there are some people when they are playing game 22 against someone that they know, right? Like up in the Northeast there, right? Everybody knows everybody. And if they're playing their buddy in game 22 and their card is dead, the other person is right on the edge,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet there are some people that tank games. And you could do the other side of that, right? Somebody has like a dead card, the other person has a monster card that, and there is some potential upside to, pool money, right? Or just being a high qualifier, stuff like that. Don't tell me people aren't tanking game 22 or 21 for some of these situations. And, there's not really if you spot it, throw the people out, right? It's a dangerous thing. It should not be happening. Like I would never do that. I don't think you would ever do that either. But like, I think we have to be realistic, right? That stuff happens. I don't really know how you stop it because people can still do that with the way it is now. So just
Right.
little side note, little side diversion there. Didn't It's always fun when we're like mapping out these shows, like where we think it's going to go,
Yeah.
and then where it actually goes. Two very, very different things at times. So, all right, let's get to the hands here. We are already running a little long. But hopefully, when these shows run long, you're like, oh, good, it's rolling right through. I love this. If you're not, why are you still listening? But that's another story. Okay, so for the record, by the way, it kind of became a thing on Facebook. Somebody was talking about uh, the the little page here where we show the hands, and they were saying submitter shows, but it doesn't for me still. So maybe that's my browser or something else. But this is a Terry hand, is it not?
It is a Terry hand.
Okay. And by the way, I think it's one thing that I do see that got added is you can see in very, very large print, or at least in one of them, it says "You are not the dealer." It makes me think we're on the Maury Povich show. I don't know if you ever watched that back in the day, but a lot of paternity tests where Maury would really draw it out and say, "You are not the father," or "You are the father." It was a very, very dramatic thing. Probably not a
What?
lot of over. You
I
never
am
watched
the
those?
dealer. I did. Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I've seen them mostly on just reels on social
Yeah, they're
media, but
hilarious, right? Just a horrible show. Just well, anyway. But so you said you screwed this one up. You are the dealer here,
well, it says you are not the dealer, on the
correct?
right,
Does that mean
but
you entered it incorrectly?
I don't think so because the star's on the right side, or
Okay,
it should
great.
be. I don't know.
Right. All right.
You
You submitted this one, so it's your hand. So I'm gonna let you give the introduction. This is it. Let me make sure. Let me scroll down really quick here. Yeah, this is a Terry hand. So all right, go right ahead, Mr. Christian.
Yeah. So, all right, you are in fact dealing, and, you are in the 39 hole, slightly out of position, your opponent in the 46 hole, and you are holding 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 queen, and I'll say it again, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 queen, and the queen and the 5 are not the flush cards. So you could hold
Everything
2,
else is.
2, 4, 6, 7 would be a flush. So how do you like this one, Jason?
I think this is a screams to hold the flush in this spot. So again, we are ignoring the part that says you are not the dealer on the screen. In fact, I'm going to reload the page here because that is just throwing me off. I think that you are not the dealer just does not disappear. That's what we're going to go with.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll see on the next one whether it's the site or if it was me, but
Okay. So anyway, but I think holding the flush is the play here. Queen 5 is like clearly the best of this that you can throw to the crib. Like you're 4 points short of the 43 position that you want to be dealing in. Um, but you can't hold more than 6 before the cut anyway, any other way, right? You can hold 4, 5, 6, 7. I guess 4, 5, 6 queen is 7 points before the cut, technically. But I just can't really imagine anybody holding this one that way. So I would say without any hesitation, queen 5 goes to my own crib.
all right, Voldemort. I agree, actually, and that is how I held it. Voldemort disagreed with me, and I can't remember if he said it was because he thought it pegged better or what. But
Queen
I
deuce, I would assume, is the other option here, right? Not 7 deuce.
correct,
Okay.
and I just thought I'm a little bit out of position. I'm just going for overall value here, and I mean, deuce 4, 6, 7, I think could still peg potentially well. And why not load the crib?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And if any chance I have to disagree with Voldemort, just a little feather in my cap for the day. So, okay, I agree on that one. So, we are trying to do the keep count thing on these. Here, let me check all the rest of these as we do them going forward. Um, but trying to keep count on our agree versus disagree, and you had like a what you thought was it. Somebody's going to track back and find out that we're counting these wrong. But what was going into today? What was the agree versus disagree?
I think it was, let's see, 16 to 10, if I'm not
In
mistaken.
16 agree, 10 disagree. Is
That's
what you're saying.
correct.
Okay,
That's
well, put
correct.
another one in the good column, so that's 17 to 10. All right. So this one came from via the mailbag from Mike Delana, and I thought this was an interesting thought. So And this is one where it's like it's in-game stuff I'm a little fuzzy on, and I could probably do better on. So you are first count in hole 120. So in fact, the you are not the dealer element of this is actually accurate. And your opponent is dealing from 5 out, and you are dealt what I would say is a pretty crummy hand for this spot. It's ace 7, 10, 10, jack, queen. Um, this is an end game thing, right? Like you are trying your best to navigate this to try to like you're gonna win this game more often than you lose this game, but right, these are one of these spots where you are. I just want to pick up my hand and see like 2 points and see like a 4-7 in my hand, right? Or a 3-9. One of those combos where like if they pair me, then I have the out card, game over. You don't really have that here. So I'm curious if you have a way that you think this is to be held.
Yes. So I actually went over this hand with Mike. This was from this weekend, and
Oh, by
we
the way,
kind of
congrats to Mike. He made master this weekend, I think I heard.
he did
So I'm
actually.
super happy for Mike with that one. So congrats to Mike on that one. Anyway, so you said you were going over this with him. How do you hold this?
Yeah, so the way I kind of liked it was ace 7, 10, 10. You have to hold 2 points here just in case. And because you don't have the guaranteed 1 point that the dealer does. So I'd go ace 7, 10, 10. Throw the jack queen to the crib, and I'd probably lead the 7 in this spot.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm following along. Like any reason in particular why the that hold and that lead?
Well, you got to keep the tens, like I said.
Well,
To
you have to keep some points. I think we can, and there's multiple routes to holding points here. I think we can agree on that.
true. Yeah, true. You could keep 3 running face cards to do it, but I guess I like the 7 because if it's not paired or whatever, or 15, I can hopefully safely dump the ace there, and then if I have 2 tens on the other side of the go, chances are I'm good. Like, they're not gonna score off the tens.
Okay,
I just
fair
feel
enough.
like I can navigate a little bit better with the 7 lead.
Okay. I wonder if the ace is a liability, right? Is there like a card that can be played on your 7 lead that kind of delays, right? Where all of a sudden you can't play the ace. Like clearly, if they play like a 6, right, you can't play the ace.
Right.
Um, but I don't know if there's really another card where you would maybe show any hesitation towards that. Maybe like a 3, right? If they play a 3 on my 7, I'm probably not gonna play my ace, but maybe you could make a case to do so. Right? If they play a 3 on your 7, your kind of radar needs to go off a little bit. It's like, okay, why would they not do that? These are
Right.
these ones where it's like my in game is a little soft. That's if there's a part of my game that I feel least equipped to handle, it's like spots like these. I do agree with the 7 lead. Like my lean on this was 7, 10, 10, queen. Right. The idea is just try to stay away as best as I can. And I feel like it's going to be hard to get in too much trouble there. There are still spots where you just flat out lose with that.
Y-
Um,
If he keeps an ace, 8 and a 6, though, is what gives me pause for not keeping the ace.
okay.
Because you'll get
Hold on. Say
15 and
that.
then third. So if he has an 8 and a 6 in his hand, so
Oh,
I'll
you're
play
saying
the
that's a reason why you would want to hold the ace so that you could
yeah,
then dump the ace if they take the 15.
and split some cards up. Yeah.
Well, okay, so it's great, and let's talk about the other side of this, right? When you are the dealer in hole 116 here, or right, if you could hold anything, right? You're holding a good player is holding like a mix of cards, if possible here. Although maybe in a spot like this, if you have like trip deuces or something, you maybe hold those, right? Try to get those in as the way to win the game rather than trying to hold like a mix. Right? Say you are a dealer here and you have 2, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Just cards, like do you hold 2, 3, 4, 5, or do you hold 2, 2, 2, 5 or 2, 2, 2, 4 here or something like that? Maybe like 2, 2, 2, 8 is like a card combo that you can have, right?
I would prefer that. Yeah. I mean, hopefully they won't force you to dump the 8 on as your second card, but generally speaking, if I'm keeping low trips, I feel like I'm going to be relatively safe.
Well, I mean, but as the dealer here, right? When you're trying to get out,
Oh,
I think you
oh, oh.
misunderstood what I was
I
asking
did.
on this one.
Yes, I
So
did.
when you're
Yes, I did.
dealer here, right? Your goal is, you pick up a hand, you're going to want about a mix, right? Because you're going to lose this game more often than not. But you try to, okay, they pair the lead card, then get a 15 on the next one, and get the go on the end. That's your route to winning this game, right? Like, so you're trying to hold just as much as possible. And I feel like if I have an ace in my hand in this spot, I'm holding it like maybe 100% of the time. Right, like if you could pick any four, forget about this position in particular. Forget about like this hand that Mike had in this spot. If you're the dealer and you could pick 4 cards to keep out of the deck, right? Like I'm probably keeping an ace. I'm probably keeping a 5, maybe like a like a 2 other like random cards, like a 3 and a 7 or something like that, right? Like okay, the idea is I want to pair the first card if I can, especially needing 5. Right, you have to attack it off the spot, and I just want like a mix of cards to be able to go out.
Yeah, I mean, that's more ideal. It
Yeah,
gives you more chances to pair, possibly. If you keep a 5 and a 7 together, maybe a run will materialize with a 6 later on, but
yeah.
less face cards, the better. And that unfortunately wasn't the case here for Mike.
Okay, so be it. All right, so let's move on to the next one here. That one got a little complicated, but that's all right. We like complicated sometimes. All right, I believe this is another Terry hand. No, okay, this came from the mailbag, and this is from Rob Witters that we talked about here. So you are first count in the hole 114, so you're 7 out. Your opponent is dealing in 10 out, and you are dealt 2-2-5-5-6-9. Uh, you see any way that you particularly like this, Terry? Like this is one of these spots, right? Feel like you're going to win this game more often than not, and then you pick up a hand like this and you go, "Ah, man, that's a weird one," right? Like start counting the ways that you can just like whiff completely.
Yeah, wow. All right.
To me, I think there are two. There are really like 2 routes that I think are acceptable here. And maybe right, these are these spots where I'm like, oh, okay, I feel like there's 2 streets, and then Terry pipes in and goes, no, I did neither of those. So like, but I do feel like there's 2 answers that I feel like are the ones that feel okay to me.
I think you really have to keep 5-5-6-9 here. I just think you've got way more outs, and my opponent's 10 points back, so I feel pretty safe here that they're not going to peg out, even though it does look like it could be somewhat of a sketchy, um, trappable hand here. But if you keep
10's
five,
a lot. 10's a lot. I mean, things have to go really wrong for them to peg
exactly,
off from 10.
exactly. So I just, 5-5-6-9, any face card gets you out, an ace gets you out, a 7 gets you out, a 4 gets you out. You
You
just don't
basically have
want
to
to.
fade a 2, 3, and an 8 to do it that way.
Exactly,
And you've got 2 of the
exactly.
2s here.
So that's my hold. Do you agree with that? Because I think the bigger question is, what do you lead here?
I mean, the dealer's 10 out. I just ditch 5. I'm fine with that.
You ditch a 5?
Yeah, lead the 5. Just,
To lead. Yeah, gotcha.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. 5-5-6-9, I think, is the hold here because, right, again, just counting the outs. You mentioned it, right? 2, 3, and 8 are your break cards there, right? Like everything else gets you out. Versus,
right.
we can agree. Hopefully, we agree. The other option I think at play here, you can make a case, although not a great one in my opinion, for 2-2-5-5. Right? I don't think you can try any silliness with like 2-2-5-6. There's too many cuts that just don't get you out. Like maybe you do it that way if you're 6 out, right? If you're 115 instead of 114, I'd start thinking about 2-2-5-6, right? And again, that's where you just take your time, count the out cards, make sure that, but even if you'll 2-2-5-5 here, right? There's a lot of cuts that just brick you, right? An ace, a 4, a 7, a 9. That's already more than the other one, like right there.
Right.
So, but no, I'm not really. I mean, if my opponent somehow pegs 10 on me, I just kind of tip my cap, I guess. But I think you
Yeah.
have to lead a 5 from this kind of spot.
Yeah, that's what I would do that as well.
There's not really, right, and again, depends on your opponent, what they're capable of, but like, right, you're already safe against them pairing the lead card, and then assuming they play a face, what do you do back there? Just your other 5?
Yeah, I probably would because I can't imagine a whole lot of mischief happening with a 6 and a 9.
Although 5-9 feels maybe a little safer, right? Like, you're almost say you lead the 5, just follow me on this logic, right? You lead the 5, they play a queen on it, right? Take the 15, and then you play a 6, you make it 21, right? Chances are they're going to play another face card on it, and then they still have 6 points to go, and you've got a 5 and a 9 showing. Like, there is a gap between 6 and 9 that can hit, right? They could somehow have 7-8,
Yeah,
right? And do you lose?
true.
Like, let's say they have like 7-8-10-10 in their hand, right? You lead the 5, they play the 10, you play the 5, they play a 10, right? They've got 3 points already, and then if you do it that way. No, I guess they're not getting home that way because they only get the 4 and the run is 5. So that's not enough points. So either way, I think you're safe. If your opponent's like 6 here, maybe it's a little different.
Okay, right.
I don't know. That's just my take on that, right? Like, I probably have had somebody peg out on me from 10 before, but I've erased it from my memory, luckily. So, all right. Well, thank you, Rob, for your submission on that one. All right. Here's what I had from club over the weekend. So there is a flush here, folks. So this is 0-0, your own crib. So your own crib, and the hand you are dealt here is 3-5-5-10 Jack Queen. There is a flush here that would be 3-5-10 Queen. This one, you file this one under good problem to have. And I think there's at least a couple ways to do this. Do you right? Like, this wasn't a spot where I particularly like needed a skunk. So as Brian Gurdon, we always quote, "You always need a skunk, but there are sometimes where you need it more than others," in my opinion. Um, I don't know. This one is me. When I looked at it, I was like, "Huh, all right, I'm not quite sure how to do this." So, what do you think?
If it's the first hand of the game, I'm
Hmm.
going with overall value here, and I think it's just better to keep 5-10 Jack Queen and then throw the 5-3 to the crib.
Okay.
I just feel like I'm gonna get more value. Now, let's say if it was a later position, hold, let's say I'm in the 104 hole and they're right around that, and I just don't wanna let them peg. I might keep the flush there just for the variance and the pegging. I'm less likely to get trapped. So that would be a position where I'm definitely open-minded for the flush, but first hand of the game, I just think I've got a better chance going down First Street with with 5-10 Jack Queen. You got a 16 shot there. Let's say you miss, you've got a decent shot at a big crib if the stars align that way. If they have to throw 3-4, for instance, to keep their you know pat 8 to 12 points, then I don't know. That's just the way I like it. Opening the game.
Okay. I went the other way on this one, right? Jack 5 is just more powerful than 3-5. Although your point is interesting in that if you hold it that way, right? So you're holding a 3-5-10 queen flush and you're throwing Jack 5 to the crib, like a brick cut can potentially miss both of them, whereas it's a little harder for it to miss both your way, right? If you hold 5-10 Jack Queen and throw 3-5, there's still ones that miss them both, right? Like 8s and 9s, and I guess aces aren't that great either. But this is, to me, this is, and I'm very curious of the numbers of these and like the little pop up which I think I closed, so shame on me. But like shows the hand averages and the the numbers of this. But I would assume this one is very very close either way. Like I said, I opted for the flush, just gave me a few more kind of routes in the pegging. Right, hate that early on. You just holding the 5 and 3 faces, and right they play the 4, you play the face, they play the ace for 15, and then it's already off to a bad start. So
All right.
all right, so chalk that up to a disagree there. Although I call that like a mild disagree. Right? It's almost like we gotta make this more complicated. There's like we agree, we like mildly disagree, and then it's the like I hate you disagree. Like what do you think? The what are you thinking disagree? Which that would not be the case here. Yeah, see, there's a little pop up that I closed last time. Okay, all right. Here's the other one that I had from Club. So this is once again your own crib. So you are dealing in hole 30. Your opponent is first count in hole 24. Let me make sure that's right because yeah, okay. Um, and you deal yourself, and I can file this under the good problem to have. 3, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9. This might be like a known hand or one we've done before, but it's just one of those. It's I don't have a lifetime hold for this one yet, and what I mean by that is like when you see this hand, I don't have strong confidence in how to hold this for my own crib forever. Um, so I don't know if there's any nuance to the position or anything. If you just gonna play this the same way almost anywhere for your own crib, but right, like maybe 3, 4 different cases of how to do this here.
Yeah, I can't remember if we talked about this one or not, but
Eventually, they're gonna repeat, and we are just gonna be okay with that, right? Because they all meld together after a little while.
yeah. I- Based on my current mood, I kind of like throwing. See, it says you are not the dealer here again,
Correct, and
but
it's
you are.
that's just there for every hand. So for those
Okay.
listening, there's a thing on the screen that says you are not the dealer, no matter what it is. But I can assure you, this is that is the case. I think it's a bit of a easier decision here if you are not the dealer. But
Yeah.
I can assure you, you are the dealer.
Okay. Because I was thinking a bunch of things after the first hand there. But anyway, so getting back on the tracks, I think I would throw 3, 5 suited here. I don't want to break up the 7, 8, 9. You get an easy shot for 12 there. Well, not an easy one, but a decent shot. If it happens to be the 7, that's kind of a bingo card for you because you threw the 3, 5 in the crib. And I just feel like if one doesn't hit, you got a decent shot at the other one hitting. So I think 3, 5 plays better than 3, 3. And so yeah, that's kind of how I lean on this one.
Yeah, I agree on this one too. I think that the sucker toss here, if you will, the one that I think it separates like maybe players that are a little more beginner, or maybe those who are just not deep in their bag. They'll be like, oh, just throw the 8, 9 here to your own crib. Because to me, 8, 9 is not a. I think I would throw 7, 8 here before I threw 8, 9. But I agree with you. I think 3, 5 is the throw here. Just maximum flexibility with that one too, right? 3, 7, 8, 9 is a hand that almost you can have a plan no matter what your opponent leads there, right? What cuts, what did they lead, what are they showing, right? Because if you, I don't know, like great cuts a middle card and they lead a middle card, okay, you can all of a sudden be on alert here and maybe I don't want to peg with this person and just dump the 3 if they lead an 8 or something like that, right? Or okay, yeah, we want to go. And right, they lead the 8, you play the 7, and it's like, okay, let's go. Right, let's trade off all these points. So I think there's a lot of different angles in which you can do that one, and I agree with you. Like 3, 3 is not as good to the crib. There's bigger swings with the 3, 3, but I think 3, 5 is going to perform a little better.
Agreed.
All right, so this is a Terry hand here, I believe, and so I'm gonna let you intro this one, please.
Yeah, I had this one at some point on Friday, and I also went over this with Voldemort uh, moments after, but you are in the 40 hole dealing, so a little bit out of position, not too bad. Opponent is in the 48 hole, and you are holding ace 5 5 5 7 9, and it's your crib.
So again, not pre-screening this one. Like my immediate reaction is to throw the nine ace without a whole lot of hesitation, um, but I think I'm coming around to 5 7 here. Oh yeah, this one's got some layers to it. Right, if you're holding say 5 5 5 9 here or 5 5 5 7 here, right? It's biggest cut, biggest draw, all that good stuff. But I feel like your crib is so limited, right? Like there's so little that can hit your crib because it seems so rare that your opponent's going to give you like 2 3 in the crib. Certainly, they not a lot of fives for them to give you. But I think just overall points, I can't turn things down here. Like I don't ace 5 5 9 is not the greatest of hands, and I think I would feel silly if I just you know don't get a whole lot in that crib in a spot like this when I desperately need points. This is a spot where I'm never going to turn away points, so I think I'm just throwing nine ace here and just going after it that way.
Okay. I actually did prefer the 5 7
Okay.
because similar to that first hand, I just thought better overall value here. I mean, a face card still gives me 10. Theoretically, I'm probably going to have at least 4 points with the 5 7, if not more. And um, Voldemort actually went a totally different way. And what do you think he threw? What didn't you consider here?
I mean, I thought 7 9 was maybe a possibility. I don't really think 7 ace is a whole lot of a possibility, but maybe it is. But I'd feel pretty silly if a six cut. Um, I don't think 5 5 is something you can really consider here. 7
Yeah,
9, I guess.
that
It's
that is what he preferred, and he really liked the pegging aspect of ace 5 5 5
they
because
lead a face, you drop the five, they play another face, then you get the five and the ace in, so you're pegging potentially 4 points.
yeah, so he puts it all in the pegging basket with this hand. And one of the things he pointed it out, it's pretty low percentage, but it did happen to me this weekend against Frank Bogus Jr. Um, if they lead a face, you play a five on it, they pair it, you can then trip it with your second five, and then if it's a go, you get absolutely destroyed with the case five for 12 and a
Which
go.
happens, which happens sometimes, which is why for those listening, if you are not in a very aggressive spot, right? If you have 1 5 in three faces and you lead your face and they 15 it, yeah, think about that. Just you might want to be in a spot where you don't do that. I remember once, I don't want to say who the player was, but I was really mad at myself because I got trapped in that way. And that person basically gave away that they had 3 5s in their hand. And I just didn't like clock it. It didn't like piece together in that way. I got so stuck in the position where I needed points that like when they were like making a big deal about what their hand was, I should have clocked that they had 3 5s.
Okay.
But it's funny. Like we both have probably like I've had that happen against me, and I've done that to people a few times. But I've never had it where I've had the ace. Like I've never had it where I've
Oh,
gotten 15 and then the 25 for six and then the 30 for 12 and a 31 for another two. It's just like a twist of the knife after you've already like smacked them with that. That's a neat little angle on this that I didn't think about.
yeah. So it went against me in that scenario, not with the ace, but with getting tripped and quadded this weekend in Washington State. I was on the right end of it, but I like the better for me. I shouldn't say better overall value, but I just like the easy shot at 10 points with the ace 5 5 9, and then just throwing a little something in the crib at that point. I just feel like I need bigger overall value. But
It's funny. That's kind of the same. I could argue back the same point as to why I would hold it this way, the way I did, at least holding the 3 5s together. Like, maybe Voldemort has a case with the 7 9 there, but it's I'm already 5 points, 3 to 5 points short of position. You're giving away 2 points when you're breaking up the 3 5s, right? Like, I understand like the concept that you're gonna have a bigger crib, but like you're giving away a free 15 that's there. Um, so I feel like that's only going to make your hand worse. So like in a spot like this is especially where I would not break up like points that I have, like bird in the hand, if you will. Right? Because if a brick cut comes, um, in this case, I don't know, like a 2 or something. Um, right? Like I will be very thankful to have 8 instead of 6 there.
you're guaranteed 2 points in the crib with a.
You are, but there's a math theory. I don't know how to like voice this correctly, but like you're guaranteed for there to be 2 points in there, but the 5 by itself does not make the 2 points by itself. If that makes any
True.
sense, you're
Yeah,
like
it does. Yeah.
exhausting other resources to do that. So okay, all right, we are running late, so we will keep this moving. I think this is another Terry special here.
It
It
is.
is, and I think it's our last one. So
This
go
is
ahead.
the one I had backwards here. Okay. So you're actually 18 out here, pone from the end. So that would really be the 103 hole. And then
So you're really
dealer.
making this hard for those who are actually like watching the video.
Yeah.
So okay, so you are in hole 103, and your dealer is in hole
One 96.
96, and it's their crib still.
It is their crib.
Okay.
So this is I'd be shocked if we agree on this one, but the hand is ace 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And
Okay.
you're in the 103 hole, so you're trying to get as close to the 121 as possible. Although this could be a spot where you could go hardcore defense if there is such a thing with this hand. But
If there is such a thing with you, like it's
yeah, well, I mean, I play defense sometimes,
yeah, here or there.
like
It's not
once out of every 300 hands, maybe. But yeah. So again, ace 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
okay. I feel reasonably strong about this one. I think I'm throwing ace 3 to the crib. So a lot of people really, really like ace 4, 5, 6, and it is an excellent pegger. This is part of these where it depends on who my opponent is too, because I feel like it's ace 4, 5, 6 and leading the ace hermit is a very profitable way to play, right? You're going to smash a lot of cards, but it has become so known within the cribbage universe. And I feel like any player worth their salt um, knows knows when you lead a lot of aces, that's a lot of times the hand that you have. So you're going to see a lot of weird cards come back on that, a lot of 2s, a lot of 3s, a lot of pairing of the aces. So I like 4 5 6 7 here just because it's got a 16 cut, which I guess 3 4 5 6 does. But like if I'm holding ace 4 5 6, all the same cuts that hit ace 4 5 6 also hit 4 5 6 7. Yeah, I might be talking myself into 3 4 5 6 here instead, because the 6 makes 16 just like the 4 5 6 7 does. And a7 feels safer. The 2, just trying to think if they're more like 12s or this or that. I'm sticking with the 4 5 6 7. I might be wrong here, but that was my first instinct. I'm going to trust it here, and I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Okay, so I did go the other way.
Ace 4 5 6.
I preferred ace 4, 5, 6 because if I completely missed it, I just feel like at least I have a pegging hand, and I think if you lead the 3 from 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't think you're pegging at all, really. 3 at the most, I would say.
Well, I mean, the way I would peg that varies depending on what the cut is, my opponent's reaction, all of those other things, right? Because they're 96, which is 50-50 for them to get out in 3 deals. Right? Like it's so I'm not really all that worried about if I miss this cut, say no matter what I hold, if a 9 cuts here, even a king, right? I'm kind of in like operation shutdown. Right? 18 out to start this hand. Even if right, if I hold ace 4 5 6, even if I peg that, if they have all the faces and the fives and you get all the things, what do you peg? 6, I think, 15, 31, then you get yeah, you peg 6. It doesn't get me home. I'm still 3 out, which is better, but that's the perfect situation and you're still short.
Yeah, that's it's I don't know. I just feel like I control more of my destiny if I can try to peg here. And for the record, I think it was kind of you know, a not super advanced opponent as well. But
Okay.
yeah,
I mean,
I
like I
guess
said, I feel even if I held 4, 5, 6, 7, again, as including it, especially against somebody who I don't feel like is like an A+ player, right? Um, I feel confident I can navigate that pegging. Every once in a while you run into it. Then I don't have an out card, but like regardless of how I'm holding this, the minute I miss that cut from this spot, if I don't smash this cut, right? So if say I hold the 4, 5, 6, 7, and maybe I'm crazy for not just saying 3, 4, 5, 6 if I'm going to do it that way. The minute I miss that cut, then I'm in operation defense here, right? Like
what's
just,
the best defensive hold from this hand?
I mean, like if no offense matters at all, or the one that's the most like reasonable with that, because defensive probably like the way it pegs, I feel better about 4, 5, 6, 7 than 3, 4, 5, 6 because right, you lead the 3, they pair it, you play the 6, maybe they have another 3, or all of a sudden, you could be in big trouble. 4, 5, 6, 7, I feel better about it, right? They pair the 4, I play the 7, and then generally I feel like I'm out of jail.
Yeah, I mean they could have a big crib with ace 3 is what
They
I'm
could, but
thinking.
I'll
Yeah.
live with that. I'll live with that if it happens. Again,
Uh,
this is one of these that's if somebody wants to tell me that I'm crazy and an A7 is the way to do this, then I will hear them out. Um, I just don't like the ace 4 5 6 in that spot because it's just you're taking away cuts, right? Like there are cuts that you are that right. You hold ace 4 5 6 in the 3 or the 7 cuts, you feel silly, right? You've just gone from a 12-point hand to a 6 or an 8-point hand, depending on which it is.
Yeah, so we cut a 6 here. So let's
Okay.
just okay. And which one did you keep again? 4, 5, 6, 7.
I said 4 or 5, but if I knew a 6 was going to cut, then I'd do it different. But yeah, that's fine.
Well,
Yes, 4 or 5.
let's just take that hold. So what do you lead in that spot? So you've hit it.
Oh, the 4. Honestly, I'm almost. There might be some weird spots where I might play the 7 from there, but if I hit the 6, it's a 14-point hand, and it gets me to 4 out, and my opponent is 25 away. They gotta have something really special to get out in 2 deals. So yeah, I would like to get a couple more pegs here, but I don't feel like I have to go crazy. So I think I just play the 4, just try to stay out of trouble. A lot of times they play the face card on it. I play the 5 from there, and then if they do pair it, I have the 7 to back it. But most of the time, I kind of, it's almost a bluff and a little bit there too. Right, like I make it look like I have another 5.
I like the 7 there, just to really just to try to get the 3 points on the
I
run.
I just feel like if you lead the 7 there, if your opponent does not play an 8 on it, it's gonna be difficult to peg. Just right, they play a face card on it, and then what? You play the 6 and then feel like it's gonna be hard to get a whole lot of stuff in there.
I can't remember how it pegged out, but I'm fairly certain I did win the game. But yeah, and you would a 6 smashes everything really.
Yeah, you
Um,
can't really miss it, but it's ace 4, 5, 6. The 6 smashes it the least, so
it does. I had to work for it. I know I was at least a couple 2 or 3 points short of it, but yeah.
okay. Alright, fair enough. Alright, I'll chalk that up as another it's a medium disagree. It's not a huge disagree. It's not it's not a what. It's not a who. Like it's not a I'm ending this podcast stream now. No, it's like a okay, yeah, we're cool.
So
So yeah, all right.
20 to 13 is the new overall.
Okay. All right, fair enough. And we'll note that I actually, now that the nickel of destiny is back, like I won the toss. So what shocker, right? Now that Terry's rig coins are gone, that I actually won a toss here. But yeah, fun show this week. Yeah, into all over the sun here, right? From how to handle losing to the joy of animals to the to electric vehicles to everything in between. So fun episode. Hopefully better cards for both of us in the near future. When's your next? You got a tournament coming up in the near future, or is it basically shut down through the holiday season?
No, we've got one more in the South. I think it's the first weekend of December, if I'm not mistaken. Early in December, let's say that, in Virginia Beach.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, I'm jealous. My next one will be in Florida at Fort Walton for that cluster in January, unless something weird happens between now and then. So, all right. Well, we will close up shop for the week. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Again, cribbagepodcast@gmail.com. Please send your hands, your opinions about the stuff. Tell Terry about how wrong he is for just in general. Like, I mean, if you want to go into something specific, that's preferred. But, if you just want to send it in general, like Terry's wrong, hashtag Team Jason, then I'm okay with that one as well. So, all right. Well, for Terry Cushman, Jason Matheny here from the Mothership in Houston, wishing everybody a great week. Thanks for listening.